Let's get those lineups set for Fantasy Week 3 on FFT Express. Good morning, everybody. I apologize for the sound of my voice. It's a little bit of woke up a half hour ago and a little bit of got a bad cough and my throat is hurting. But y'all be fine. By 11:30, we'll see you at 11:30 for our starter sit episode on youtube.com/fantasyfootball today, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. We'll see you again tonight at 8 p.m.-ish for the wrap-up of Week 3. All right, Heath, let's start with the quarterbacks where Jordan Love is unlikely to play, it seems, according to reports. And Justin Herbert is a game-time decision. And thankfully, these are both 1 o'clock games. Jordan Love at Tennessee, Justin Herbert at Pittsburgh. So let's start with the Packers. Not expecting Jordan Love. Any Packer that you're excited to start?
I'm starting Josh Jacobs. He's a borderline RB1, definitely a top 15 running back in all formats. And that is it. Jaden Reed goes right back to the bench. Christian Watson goes right back to the bench. I don't want to start Malik Willis, even in 2 QB leagues.
Okay, and then for the Chargers, I'm going to be optimistic and say Herbert plays. Let's give me the scenario with Herbert playing.
It probably doesn't matter. I'm starting J.K. Dobbins, and I don't have another Charger in my top 36 at wide receiver or running back. Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnston are guys that I want to stash. I would start those guys over the Packers, but I really hope that I don't have to.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this. I'm starting Ladd McConkey in a league because, A.J. Brown, Puka Nacua are out for me. But if Easton Stick is starting, I am not starting. I'll start Tajay Spears over him, and the Stick is no. All right, let's go to the running back news. Joe Mixon and Dameon Pierce out. Where do you have Cam Akers?
So he projects as a low-end RB2. I'm a little bit nervous about it, so I've moved him a little lower in the rankings. He is right at the borderline of an RB2 and a flex, which is the Zamir White portion of the rankings. I would start him over I'd start him over Zach Moss. I'd start him over Najee. I'd start him over Devin Singletary. But I would rather start David Montgomery or Zamir White or Brian Robinson than Cam Akers.
Raheem Mostert out at Seattle this week. Would any interest in Jeff Wilson or Jalen Wright?
No, after what we saw last week, I'm just assuming it's going to be all of the Devon Achane. You probably want to stash both Wilson and Wright just in case, but I don't want to start either one of them. Kareem Hunt not activated for the game at Atlanta tonight.
So where did you end up on the Chiefs backfield?
Carson Steele over Samaje Perine. Both are flexes. Both are behind all of the running backs that I was just talking about in the Cam Akers discussion.
Okay. And Tank Bigsby is questionable. And T. Higgins is going to play. We're going to get a lot of questions, I think, about T. Higgins this morning. So are you high on T. Higgins?
He is top 24 wide receiver for me. A little bit lower than I was in draft season, but for the most part, especially when we've lost like half a dozen wide receivers anyway, they basically said he was fine yesterday. He's playing the worst pass defense in the universe. I'm probably starting T. Higgins.
All right, let's go. Michael Pittman's going to play with a back issue.
I do not really want to start Michael Pittman.
There you go. Thank you. And then tight ends. George Kittle's out. Taysom Hill is doubtful. Evan Engram is out. I need a tight end. Where am I going on the waiver wire?
I'll probably just go back to the worst pass defense in the universe and start Mike Gesicki. Even with T. Higgins back, I think he's the best option. If he's not available, you got to lower your expectations because our favorite option was Hunter Henry, who scored 2 fantasy points. So we're not getting great production out of a streaming tight end. We're not getting great production out of a tight end we drafted in round 5.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to read some questions in a minute. Last note here is that Tampa Bay defensive tackles, Kalijah Kancey and Vita Vea, are both out. They're facing the Broncos. Did you boost Javonte Williams?
I have not. He's a high end flex, right in the Zamir White, Cam Akers mix, but just behind those guys.
Is that a West Coast to East Coast trip? Does that count? Denver to Tampa Bay?
Yeah.
You think so? Denver, it's close.
And Tampa's on the west side of Florida, which is basically the Midwest.
It's the West Coast, West Coast to West Coast. All right, we'll take a break.
Yeah, Midwest to West Coast.
Let's take a break here and come back and answer your questions on Fantasy Football Today Express. All right, here we go. We're back, and you've got a lot of questions. So, Dalton Kincaid or Brenton Strange?
Dalton Kincaid.
Amari Cooper or Cam Akers in PPR?
I can't believe I laughed that hard at that. Now it's definitely going to be Brenton Strange.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper.
Superflex. Am I crazy to start any of the following over Trevor Lawrence?
Yes.
Waddle, Javonte, Moss, and Steele. Okay. Jalen Waddle, Curtis Samuel, Brandon Cooks. Pick one.
I would go. Do I have Cooks higher? I am not excited about Waddle. He's right around wide receiver 40 for me. I would still start him over Brandon Cooks.
Okay. Javonte Williams, Lad McConkey, I'm sorry. We should talk about Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings, Darnell Mooney. Pick two.
I am not super excited about Juwan Jennings. I expect, especially with all the injuries the Rams have, that San Francisco is just going to be a more run-heavy approach. Jordan Mason's going to smash. Brandon Ayuk's going to see all of the targets. Jennings is a fine desperation flex, but I would start Javonte and Lad. If Herbert's out, then it'd be Javonte and Mooney.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you were going to say Mooney anyway, but okay. Superflex, Justin Herbert, Andy Dalton, Samaje Perine, or Devin Singletary?
So start one of the quarterbacks. If Herbert's active, start him. If he's not, start Dalton.
This is a tough one. I can't believe you have to make this decision. Higgins or James Conner? Man, doesn't your team have any injuries?
Yeah, I think this is like projections-wise, they're very... I have Conner projected higher too, so it's easy. Conner.
Okay. Cam Akers, Carson Steele, Tank Dell, or Jerome Ford?
I will go with Jerome Ford.
Okay. Start 2.5 PPR. J.K. Dobbins, Javonte Williams, Shaheed Etienne.
Half PPR, I'd go Etienne and Dobbins.
Rich says, standard, which running back should I start? That's the whole question.
Yeah. So in a non-PPR league, I would like to start Jordan Mason and Saquon Barkley.
Are those your top two running backs?
Yes.
Jordan Mason, that's amazing. All right, I need a trade in half PPR. Wait. That's too much for right now. Sorry. Chuba Hubbard or Deontay Johnson?
Wow, man, I can't believe you did that to that guy. Let's see. This is a good one because they're on the same team even. Chuba, I've got at 10.68. Deontay, I've got at 11.27. We're going Deontay Johnson.
Okay. Ryan, I would trade any of Jefferson Cup. I would trade any of your wide receivers straight up for Breece Hall. You could try that. If that gets,
but Hall's already played this week, so you're probably not going to be able to get that deal done. So I'd go with Gibbs.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't trade.
Trade Cup for Gibbs.
I traded Jefferson or Rice for Gibbs. I wouldn't trade St. Brown.
I think Rice for Gibbs makes a lot of sense.
Half PPR though. I don't even know if I'd do that. All right. Well, all right. Sit one. Achan, Gibbs, Mason, Jacobs. PPR. I definitely sitting Jacobs here. Jacobs didn't have a single target last week. Only 15 pass attempts for Malik Willis, and this is a much tougher run defense than he faced. So
yeah, I'm sitting Jacobs, but he's still a top 12 guy for me.
Yeah, right. I mean, you have to have good options to sit Jacobs. All right, one more. Should I trade Drake London for Derrick Henry? Oh, two of your favorites.
Yeah, you're asking the wrong guy here, probably, but yeah, sure.
I would do that.
Yeah,
I think Henry's probably gone from very overrated to a little underrated at this point.
And London doesn't seem to have moved at all in most people's minds. So
that's true. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Also, you can watch CBS Sports HQ at 10 Eastern for some fantasy advice. And have a great day and good luck in week 3.